Welcome to DieCastRestos. My name is Jason and this is the 29B Matchbox Austin A55 Cambridge. It was introduced to Lesney's range in 1961 as a replacement for the Bedford milk float. It was then discontinued in 1966. My example has been repainted from the original two-tone green, with a previous owner opting for an interesting black and blue bruised look. They've not done a terrible job either, just that the brush marks are quite prevalent and the paint has chipped away in places. They even painted the grille, turn signals and the brake lights. I will however be reverting it to its original form, a two-tone green, following the body lines at the rear. Here is how the real world A55 looks, noting the two-tone pattern. Lesney reproduced this pattern by painting the entire body metallic green, then capping to mask the body before applying a pale green overlay across the roof, boot lid or trunk, and the tops of the rear wings. The models had a green tinted plastic window fitted, with the only variations being the wheel colour of black, grey and silver. Silver trim was applied to the front and rear bumpers, grille and headlights, with red applied to the tail lights, though all rear trim was omitted in later versions. Here are all the components laid out ahead of paint removal. I next add hot water to the metal parts before using caustic soda. The casting is based on the Austin A55 Cambridge Mk II, introduced by the British Motor Corporation in 1959 and produced until 1961. It was known as a Farina model because of its Pininfarina design and was one of the first of a range of BMC vehicles designed by Battista Farina. The body and chassis was shared across a number of extremely similar vehicles, namely the Morris Oxford Series 5, Riley 4, MG Magnet Mark III, Wolseley 1560 and the Siam Ditella 1500 in Argentina. The A55 had leather trimmed seats, a column or floor mounted gear lever and came with an increased luggage capacity over its predecessor, unusually also called the A55 Cambridge. A heater was an optional extra. The Cambridge range spanned from 1954 to 1969 and were all built at the Cowley factory in Oxford, England. Models were sold as the A40, A50, A55 and A60 over the years. The replacement A60, which spanned from 1961 to 1969, had a new 1.6 litre inline-4 engine and was fitted with the chrome stripes on the exterior and reduced fins on the rear wings. Anti-roll bars were fitted to the front and rear suspension, while a diesel version first became available for the domestic market in 1962, having been available for export vehicles the year prior. So here you can see I've applied Tamiya TS60 as a base for the roof and rear wing colour. I shall mask this off and spray with the secondary colour once dry. Next up, I polished the window piece. The window has a very minor fracture. I hope to reuse it, but I have a reproduction one available if necessary. Once polished with Autosol, I dunk in wood floor polish for extra pizzazz. I use my drill to remove any surface rust and imperfections from the axles. Then I tap the wheels back onto the axles and onto the base. I use my Molotow chrome pen to highlight the axle ends. Now I apply the darker shade of green. I've used High Coat Ford Green Jade Metallic Double Acrylic Aerosol Spray. At the time I was thinking the metal flake would be quite large, but hopefully still suitable for this scale. Not a great deal you can see here in the glorious British sunshine, but I'll have it under the studio light shortly. When I removed the tape, I noticed some of the Tamiya layer had been peeled away, leaving blemishes on the surface. So I retaped and resprayed another layer of pearl green. With paint application finally over, I turned my attention to the chrome and red detailing. First job is the front end. This gets chrome on the grille sections using my 1mm pen. Now I use my 2mm pen on each headlight and on the bumper. I flip it around and apply the chrome to the rear end. Additionally, I draw some onto the tail lights. Once set, I use my red Sharpie to cover over the chrome. Now we are ready to reassemble. Here I've got the original and reproduction window set. You can tell the reproduction apart as it's so much darker, but there's that paper thin split. I opt to reuse the original however, as it fits in the existing rivet nicely without needing to be permanently stuck in. With that, I clip the base onto the 2 sets of rivet posts and screw in my colour-coded M2 laptop screws. So here is my black and blue beat up A55 Cambridge before restoring it back to its original livery. The previous owner didn't do too bad a job on this, but it's a bit rough in places now and looking tired. The two-tone didn't fit with the original design, so I masked off the appropriate areas to have a go myself. So here is how this contused Cambridge looks now. As I said earlier, the metal flake is quite large, but it certainly doesn't obscure all of the details of the casting. The bright work on the front looks tidy, and the secondary tone of pearl green subtly complements the dominating Ford jade green. The large tail lights have been filled in with red from my Sharpie, and the bumper and axle ends chromed. There was only a very minor crack on the rear windscreen that I've stuck with out of choice, but like I always say, I aim to reuse as many components from the model as I possibly can, and I don't think it's too detrimental to the overall finish. Anyway, that's your lot from me for today. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again for the next one. Bye for now.